So, welcome back to Pod's Degree Garage. We're going to continue the series Anatomical Approach to Human Body Topology. Today, we're going to continue working on the head. So, this is where we last left it, right? And it was step 7. Now, we're going to start with step 8. But before that, we're going to correct the color coding first because as you can see, they have been kind of mixed up a little bit. Now, this all belongs to the front part of the face, and so I'm just gonna put it to the front, and voila, now it's good, right? So, step 8, right? Let's open my notepad, and it's gonna be add horizontal lines to the nose to create the cheeks and the chin, right? So, if you go back to Blender, and you will notice here that there are 4 horizontal lines on the nose, right? And 2 are connected already to the orbit, and 2 are still left unconnected, right? So on these 2 loops, we're gonna subdivide each one of them so that creating a total 4 horizontal loops on this lower half of the nose, right? So we're gonna use these, so let's open my template, right? So open my template, step 8, and as you can see that on this part, we're gonna use these 3 to create the loops for the chin, right? The horizontal loops for the chin, and we're gonna use this top, the most top part as the loops for the jaw, right? So yeah, let's do it. So let's go back to step of that. Let's go back to our cube. And first, we're gonna have to delete these whole faces, but one right below the nose here. And let's delete that. And then we will go to sculpting because we're gonna pull this spiky part down a little bit, right? And we're gonna try to sculpt it to make it a little smoother. We're also gonna pull this spiky thing back a little bit, and yeah, so there you go. Now this is this, right? So yeah, we're also gonna have to kind of pull this to the top a little bit, right? And this is going to be a little to the middle part, right? And yeah, I guess that's it. Now we are ready to continue. Yeah, so now let's extrude these for probably I just kind of noticed from the previous videos that I haven't turned on my shortcut thing. So now, yeah, so let's continue. Let's extrude these 4 edges, right? And so we're gonna just extrude it, rotate it so that they kind of straight horizontally, and we're gonna bring it somewhere around here, and we're gonna rotate it along the z-axis, something like that. Scale it up and put it something like that. So you will notice that we have these 2 existing loops at the bottom, right? And we're gonna connect that to this thing, but first, yeah, there's 4 loops here, right? So the first loop here, the most top part of the loop, this is going to be the thing that goes creating the jaw, right? And these 2 in the middle, right? And it's going to be connected to this thing, right? Let's do that now. And yeah, and this one will go around to create its own loop around the mouth, right? So yeah, so right now, if you notice that at the bottom here, you will see that there are 3 vertical loops here, and which is the purple, and there are 2 coming from the side, making a total 5 faces, right? At the same time, if you notice that at the top here, there are 3 loops here coming from the front side of the face, which is the reds, and also 2 from the side of the face, making a total 5 as well. So we've got a nice equal number of vertical loops at the top and the bottom part, and that's what we're looking for. So yeah, first we're gonna add a vertical loop here because we're gonna connect that to this part. So this part is gonna be connected to this part, and this part is gonna be connected to that part. So yeah, let's do it. Maybe scale it a little bit and connect this to that. Right? And yeah, now let's add another 2 subdivision here, and we're gonna pull this to the top here so that it's kind of easier when we kind of connect that later, right? Something like that. Scale it down, and this one here, I kind of mix it up a little bit, that this one should be connected to that. Sorry for that. We're gonna add another subdivision here so that this one can connect to that. And yeah, let's reconnect everything, right? So yeah, that one goes there. So there you go. Now we've got a continuous three vertical loops from the front face, front part of the face, and another 2 from the side of the face. However, right now it's a little bit messy. Now let's just try to kind of shape it a little bit better so that it's easier for us to see which one is going where, right? Right, and yeah. Now we also have to deal with this one bit first, right? So yeah, to do that we just have to extrude this to the middle, right? And put it here because we're gonna connect that with that, right? And just like what we did on the top part, we're gonna subdivide it, and then this will connect to that. And yeah, subdivide it again. This connects to that. Sorry. And another, we're gonna subdivide it twice here, and we're gonna connect that to that as well, right? So yeah, so first let's shape it first, right? So this is how it's supposed to look, and yeah, so let's shape it a little bit, and this one, okay. So now we have to deal with the this bit here, right? So this one face in the middle is basically, we will loop it around the mouth as well, and this is going to be the separation zone. So if we go to Photoshop here, you will notice that there is, so this is the cheeks, and this is the nose, and this is the side of the face, and this is the chin, right? And this is the mouth and the lips, right? So in between these zones, you will notice that there is this circular zone here, right? So this is the zone. So this is basically what this loop is gonna be, right? So yeah, so let's pull this up a little bit to the top, move it to the side, and we're gonna put subdivision to it so that we've got a nice 2, right? So probably what we're gonna do is that we're gonna first extrude this thing first, right? Because we're gonna connect this to that first, and then only then that we're gonna subdivide it here. So yeah, that's it. Now let's scope it a little bit to make it shape a little better, right? Push this to the front a little bit, make it a nice roundish shape here, and yeah, I guess that's it, right? So that's it for step 8, right? Now let's go to step 9 and add details to the orbits loop and connect the outer edge of the brow to the cheeks, right? So as you know that the brow loop is connected to the nose, right? So we all know that. So first we'll have, but before we do anything, we'll have to connect these thing, right? Because right now this is unconnected yet. So we have to connect these edges to create a nice round eye loop, right? So first, let's delete these two faces, which connect the front side of the head and the side of the head, right? So let's delete it. And we're gonna slide this a little to the top because we're gonna add another loop there. So yeah, so we're gonna also add two horizontal loops here so that we got equal number 3 edges here with these, right? Because we're gonna connect them right now, something like that. So yeah, so probably we're gonna pull this to the top a little bit, right? And yeah, so next we're gonna use this unconnected edge to create the outer edge of the eyelid, right? So we're gonna pull this to the middle, basically right under this loop, right? So we're gonna rotate it and scale it down, pull it to the front, and yeah, now we're gonna connect this. Oh, first we're gonna add a vertical loop there because we're gonna connect this to that and this to that. So now we can simply connect this there and here, right? So let's put this back to the front part, right? So now it's easier to see. So probably what we're gonna do is just put this to the side so that we have kind of a roundish shape here, and yeah, so that's it. Now, okay, let's scope it a little bit. Okay, now as you can see that, remember that we have added these two. We have two loops here, two horizontal loops. Now we're gonna add the same amount of horizontal loops on this part, and we also add another 2 here. So yeah, that's it, and let's scope it a little bit again to create a nice shape to work with. Yeah, so that's it. Now the next thing that we're gonna add, so from this part we're gonna add a lot of subdivisions to create this a nice round eyelid, because right now it's still kind of a blocky, right? So first we're gonna add a vertical loop with this. We're gonna add one vertical loop on each of these 2 loops, right? So let's do that. And second, we're gonna add 2 vertical loops on the lower orbit here, right? So gonna add 2. Probably we're gonna slide this to the side a little bit more so that we got a nice equal shape or space on these 4 vertical. In total, now if you notice that we've got 4 vertical loops around the bottom orbit here. And the third, we're gonna add 2 horizontal loops on each of these, right? These 2 and as well this. However, on this last bit, we're gonna add 3 loops, right? So that in the end, from this pole to that pole, we can count that there is 10 faces, right? So yeah, now let's probably scope it a little bit again, so that we can have a nice roundish shape around here, and yeah. So yeah, that's it for step 9, I guess. And step 10, add details to the brow to add details to the nose, right? Sorry for that. And Oh, so yeah, I mean, like, just like I mentioned that the brow is connected to the nose. So we're gonna add details to the brow so that we add details to the nose as well. I guess that's what the step meant, right? So yeah, we're gonna add, so let's go back to my template, right? So let's show step 10, right? So we're gonna add in total seven, there's gonna be 7 faces here, and there's gonna be, so there's gonna be 6 horizontal loops around the brow here. So yeah, but let's do it one step at a time, right? So let's hide it for now, and let's go back here. So yeah, first, I guess we're gonna move this to the middle, something like that, and let's pull this to the top. So let's add the first loop, right? And we're gonna delete this bit at the bottom, right? And yeah, we're gonna add 2 vertical loops on this bottom bit, right? And we're gonna reconnect this to that and add some sorry for that. Sorry. Oh, this one as well. So we're gonna add two subdivision here, connect this to that, and we're gonna add a subdivision in the middle here, and we're gonna connect this to that instead. So if you go sculpting and let's shape it a little bit better, you can see that now we have 2 vertical loops that goes to the bottom here, right? So yeah, now we're gonna add more subdivision to the brow area, but first we're gonna move this to the top or to the middle, right here, right? And we're gonna add, so probably this there, and we're gonna add subdivision there, and we're gonna add each of this to another 2 subdivision. So in total, if we calculate it, there is 7 faces, 7 horizontal loops here, right? So yeah, now probably we're gonna sculpt it a little bit, right? So yeah, that's good. And now, so remember that we have 4 horizontal loops here. The top one is going to be for the jaw, and the bottom one here is actually for the alar, which is this bulbous shape here, and the tip of the nose here. And we're going to add, for this part, we're going to add another subdivision so that we can create a more divine more shape to the alar part, right? So yeah, so let's shape it a little better to our template, right? So let's shape it up a little bit. Let's hide it. And if you notice that, so here's the thing, so here's the trick, right? So if you see that there's this kind of a very sharp cut in the middle, we can easily do that by selecting the middle edge here, and we're gonna press G twice, and we can do that, slide it to the right, and now we got a nice flat line on the middle there. So that's quite that's kind of very helpful to create a nice shape so that it's not too kind of pointy, right? So yeah, let's reshape that. And we're gonna push this to the side, right? Push this down. Okay. Okay, now that, I guess that looks pretty good, right? And so, here's the thing. Maybe this is too pointy. Yep, put it down a little. So again, so here's the thing. There are two options. So that there is this part of the face of the nose that we call as groove, which is this part, right? So this is this part thing, and we call it groove of the alar. When we try to make it, there's two approach to it. First, we can just simply leave it as is. We can just push this to the middle to create the groove, right? Or the second way to do that is that if we want some extra definition around the groove, then what we can do is to create a nice round loop around the tip of the nose, which gonna be look something like this. So this is the look that I'm talking about. So, and the latter way is what I'm gonna try to do here. And yeah, let's make that loop, right? So let's go back to sculpting. Probably we're gonna push this to the middle a little. And yeah, let's make the loop, and you're gonna have to watch carefully because it's gonna be very, very quick, right? So remember that we have these two loops for the alar, right? So, and there's gonna be this pole, right? So this is the first phase and this is the second phase, and we're gonna delete this part, right? Delete it. We're gonna add a subdivision at the bottom. We're gonna reconnect the left part to the top part, and we're gonna add subdivision, horizontal subdivision loop to the nose, and we're gonna reconnect this to that. So voila, now we got a nice loop around there. So with this extra geometry, we can now shape the nose a little bit better from my experience. But the thing is, if you don't have the loop, it's okay too, right? However, it's not gonna be very definitive, but it's gonna be a little bit simpler shape, right? And both ways are great. It's just which one you gotta choose. It depends to you, right? So let's reshape it a little bit more, and yeah. So I guess that's it for now. And the next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna add some nasal cavity to the nose, right? So let's turn my steps of it again. As you can see that there's two steps of the step 10. The first is just to create the shape of the nose, and the second one is to create that cavity, right? So let's go back here. So yeah, so it's quite easy actually. However, it's going to be a little bit of a interesting thing, interesting step to do, right? So first we gotta select. So remember that this is the first, this is the middle bit, and this is the second middle bit, and the third loop is gonna loop around to the middle, and we're gonna select these faces just next to this one and next to the middle part. So this is the thing. So we're gonna select that and that, 2 faces wide and 5 faces down, and we're gonna take that faces, those faces, 10 faces, and extrude them, scale it down a little bit, move it to the middle, and then we're gonna extrude it again, pull it to the inside, scale it a little bit, and we're gonna use scale 0 so that it lies very flat, and we're gonna rotate it, right? And we're gonna move it to the middle a little bit, and yeah, we're gonna subdivide it a few times. For me, it's gonna be 3 so that it kind of squarish shape, right? So yeah, so that's it for the nasal cavity. But however, it's not yet finished. We're just gonna create a nice shape first here so that you can see it a little bit better. And yeah, so now this is the tricky part, right? So if we go back here and turn on the template, you will see that there's going to be a very unusual loop, right? It goes vertically from the middle, right? And it goes round to the other, and then they go round back horizontally to the middle. So this is what we're gonna make next, right? So let's go back here, and so here is how we do it. So first we're gonna delete these 4 faces, right? And we're gonna subdivide. So first we're gonna slide this to the side because we're gonna add another vertical loops on the bottom bit. So now we got a total of 4 horizontal loops from the middle to these poles, right? So yeah, next we're gonna make this loop a little bit smaller because we're gonna add another loop there, and yeah, so first we're gonna connect the bottom bit here to that, and this to that, so the middle part to the outer edge of the other. And also we're gonna add some division to the middle bit so that we can just connect these 3 edges all together. And then we're gonna add some division to the bridge, right? We're gonna scale it down, and we're gonna reconnect that to that, this to that, right? So yeah, so that's now if you can see that now we get that beautiful unusual loop, beautiful and unusual loop that goes from the middle vertically round, and they close in horizontally, right? So let's go to sculpting and let's sculpt it, right? Yeah, so that looks pretty good. Probably I'm gonna push this back down a little bit, right? Push this to the front. So now that we have a nice extra geometry around the brow as well, we can, I guess we can sculpt it a little bit, right? And maybe this one is a little bit. Okay. Now that looks pretty good for now. Maybe I'm gonna push this down to the middle. Push this again. Yep. Maybe that, shape it a little bit. Yeah, so yeah, that's it for step 10, right? So now let's go to step 11. Add details to the cheeks and the chin, right? So this one is quite easy. First, we will slide it. So as you can see that there is this thing, right? So there's this one bit that goes to the jaw. We're gonna leave it alone, and we're gonna add one. We're gonna slide this one instead, and we're gonna add one horizontal loop, one extra horizontal loop here. So yeah, so we're also gonna add another one. So from this one, right? So there's these 2 big vertical loops from the top of the head down to the mouth. We're gonna add subdivision on each one of them. So there's gonna be 4 in total. and yeah. So also what we're gonna do is we're gonna start to delete these part, right? And yeah, we're gonna also make this part around the neck a little bit tidier. Push this to the middle a little bit, and scope it, and just smoothing out basically. Probably gonna push it to the front a little bit. And yeah, I guess that's it for step 11, and I guess that's it for today. And we have gone through 4 steps in total, from step 8 to step 11. So yeah, on the next part, we're gonna continue working on the head, and hopefully we're gonna finalize the head, right? So I'll see you there.